Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today is going to be a special recipe where I'm going to show you the importance of making homemade baby food. Typically when we make baby food at home, the food has to be fresh, and I always believed in the philosophy that I would make everything from scratch, and for my babies as well, including their rice cereal or ragi porridge, or be it anything mixed millet porridge, I used to make everything from scratch. And so much so that I needed to ensure that I owned the right equipment to ease the process. So today I'm just going to show you the entire process of how you can make your life easy by owning some special equipments plus making healthy baby food. So let me just get started right away. So I'm going to be making 3 different types of baby food today. One is the rice and ragi cereal. Typically you tend to buy a ready-made cereal, but I'm going to show you how you can make it at home really simple. There are multiple ways that you can make it. I'm sure every home has a passed on recipe of how to make a particular cereal, but here's how I made it and how it got passed on from my grandmother to my mom to me as well. Okay, so the first is the ragi and rice cereal. It's important to own a good chopper or a food processor which is like small, because you really want to ensure that you can make small portions of the baby food, and hence owning a small one really helps. And this particular brand is great because the motor is powerful, the blades are sharp, and it actually blends to the consistency that you want. Okay, so I'm going to be making my rice and ragi cereal. So into my food processor, I'm going to go ahead and add in my rice. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in the ragi seeds. There's also a saying that sprouted ragi is really good. When my children were small, I was living in the US and France, and I really didn't have enough sunlight to actually sprout it and dry it. But if you have the opportunity to sprout and dry, so what is sprouting? So you soak the ragi and in water for about 5 to 6 hours, and then you drain out the water, pat it completely dry. The ragi doesn't sprout really well, so and then you allow it to sit in that moisture for some time, and you'll see like very tiny white spots coming out of the ragi. So now that's sprouted, and then after that you dry it completely in the sun or in under room temperature, but sun is the best because then it will be dried completely, so you can make the cereal and then store it. And if you don't have sun, and like I did not, I just used to just grind it straight away. So into the process, I'm just going to go ahead and cover it and then pulse it to the consistency that you want. Okay, so notice that I was pulsing and then grinding it to ensure to get the texture that I want. So now at different stages, your babies will want different textures of food, or you want to introduce. So the first stage is a powdery, and then a little coarse, and then a little more solid. So that's when you sort of adjust the consistency of your baby cereal. So let me just open it and show it to you how beautifully it's done. So this is how the cereal looks. It has a little bit of rice grains, the ragi is nicely chopped, and it's just perfect. And it smells great too. So when you actually grind fresh, it's really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and cook this in my pan with a little bit of milk, and you can actually make this with multiple different ways. If your baby is not yet introduced to whole milk, then you use your formula milk, or you can use your breast milk, or simply with a little bit of water, or even dahi. So I used to give dahi to my children as young as they were 7.5, 8 months old. So you can give curd or dahi and make a porridge out of it with water. So add some dahi and then serve it for them. So I'm just going to show you how to make a milk porridge by adding some milk. So add in like a small portion, like a tablespoon or a teaspoon based on the quantity your baby needs, and add a little water and cook the baby cereal in the water mixture until it starts to thicken. So once it begins to thicken, and you can go ahead and add in your milk or your formula. Okay, so this will take a couple of minutes. So notice that it is thickening. This ragi and rice flour starts thickening really quickly, and because we have made it fresh, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in some milk. And the texture is more like a kanji, right? So it has a little bit of coarseness into it. Because we have added rice, it's going to take a little while to cook. So ensure that you simmer it and cook it until it's done really well. Okay, so this will take about 2 to 3 minutes. Once it's done, you can just allow it to cool and then serve it to your baby. So now that's like a perfect serving for just one meal. It has a lot of flavor. You can, if you want to add something more, you can add a pinch of salt if you like, or you can even add some mashed bananas into it after it's cooled down, or some apple puree to give it a flavor, or some pureed strawberries. Any type of pureed, freshly pureed fruits, just mix it into this So it'll add in some flavor and taste for your baby. As they keep growing up, they want to develop their taste and they become fussy. So don't worry, if they don't eat this just like that. So you can keep flavoring it and keep changing flavors with the addition of some fruits. Okay, or you can even add some dahi and salt, as I said. So that's it. So this is one baby recipe that I used to make, and another one I'm going to show is how to make a nice porridge with oats, and how you can puree the fresh apples and bananas in the mini food processor, and then make an apple porridge with some oats. So making apple and banana purees is really simple. Typically, if you want to just serve an apple puree for your baby, what you have to do is to take some cut apples which are peeled and boiled, and then either saute it in the pan until it becomes soft, or pressure cook it for one whistle with just a pinch of water, and then it becomes soft, and after that you can just puree it. But a lot of times, that has multiple processes when your baby is small, and that's the first food, so you can go ahead and do that. But as your baby starts growing, and you can actually start giving raw pureed apples, so that's what I'm going to show you how to do. And so I'm going to be using my mini food chopper here again. So into this I'm going to go ahead and add my fresh apples, and I'm also going to add my bananas along with it, and because I'm going to make an apple and banana puree, and just pulse it until it becomes nice and smooth, or the texture that you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and open and show you how it looks, and notice how the puree has become. It's really smooth and it's just perfect consistency. So this is a fresh apple and banana puree which you can serve to your babies above 7 months old. Yes, you can serve, because I used to serve fresh strawberries, puree it along with tofu or paneer, and then give it to them as a meal when my children were small. But this is great as well. So now I'm going to show you how to make a porridge out of it. So into a saucepan I'm going to go ahead and add in my oats, and we typically have to cook the oats along with some water. And once the oats begins to start thickening, then we add a little bit of milk. It could be a formula milk, breast milk, or if the child has started drinking regular milk, then go ahead and add the regular milk. Okay, so I'm just going to use a spoon and thicken the oats along with its water, and then allow it to cook nicely. So you can use instant oats, or you can also use rolled oats. Rolled oats has a lot more fiber and it's a lot more thicker, and children get time to get used to that. But my children just loved instant oats, so it was just perfect. So if you have some ragi flour with you, you can also add in some ragi flour into this oats, then it will become a ragi and oats porridge, and allow it to cook and thicken. And once it starts thickening, I'm going to go ahead and add my milk. So typically when you make porridges are meant to be sweet, and that's why we're adding this apple and banana puree to it. So the oats porridge will get its instant sweetness, and you've also added a fruit into your child's diet. So notice that the oats porridge has thickened nicely, and it depends upon the consistency that your baby's like. You can either keep it thin, thick, or in between. So at this stage, once it sort of cools down just a little bit, go ahead and mix in the banana and apple puree that we did. So it's going to add in a lot of taste as well, and good nutrition too. I'm just going to go ahead and add the puree, and we'll give it a stir and put it into a serving bowl, and your meal for the baby would just be ready. And it's really simple to make, isn't it? Let's just mix it all up, and then I'll serve it. So that's it. The cereal was as simple as this to make: a quick banana and apple puree. You can use any fruit of your choice, spin it in this mini food processor or the turbo chop, and then make your porridge. Now the next recipe is going to be a vegetable. I'm going to be making a beetroot and a potato puree, which most often beetroot is a dish that most children love because it's got some bright colors, and my children definitely did. So I'm going to show you how I made a homemade beetroot and potato puree, because adding potatoes to beetroot gives it a really nice creamy consistency, so then they're able to swallow it just like a meal. And potato is a vegetable that is packed with all the nutrition, carbohydrates, minerals, and a lot of other things. So it's a great vegetable to add into all your other vegetable purees, because it brings in really good consistency. So the first step is to cook my beetroot and the potatoes. So into my pressure cooker, I'm going to go ahead and add my chopped beetroot and peeled and chopped, and then this peeled and chopped potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and add my potatoes in as well. And I'm also going to go ahead and add just a little bit of water that I've used for soaking in the potatoes, so that they prevent from discoloring. And after that, Flavoring is completely optional based on the age of your child. So I typically love to flavor my vegetables, and I always did for my babies as well. When they were close to 8 months old, I started adding turmeric powder, jeera powder, hing, which is perungayam, a little bit of salt and all of that, so they developed the taste. In fact, I started giving rasam rice at the age of 9 months, so they simply loved it, right? So, and then it's absolutely okay. So I'm just going to add in like a pinch of turmeric, salt and some cumin powder, just a pinch, all of them just a pinch, and then we'll pressure cook it for about 3 to 4 whistles, and the beetroot and the potatoes will be nice and soft. And once it's done and cools down, we'll put it into the turbo chop and make a nice fine puree. So I'm going to go ahead and add my cooked potato and beetroot into the mini food processor, which is my turbo chop. And to this I'm going to add in a dollop of butter, just a little bit, to add to the creaminess. And if you want to adjust the consistency, you can add just a little bit of water to make it a little more smooth and creamy instead of really thick. Okay, so I'm just going to add like a tablespoon of water and cover, and then pulse it to make a nice smooth puree. Here again, you can adjust the consistency of your puree by pulsing it. So you can give it a little texture, keep it a little coarse, so as your child is growing up, start increasing the texture so they start feeling the texture of the food. And if they're really baby, then you can just blend it into a nice smooth puree if they're still not ready. So that's it. I'm going to open and show it to you, and notice how creamy and smooth the puree is. It's just perfect baby food. So I'm just going to go ahead and serve it right now. So making baby food has become really simple. Ensure that you invest in the right equipments like this mini turbo chop that we have. It's extremely useful, sharp blades, and makes making baby food a breeze. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and do give these recipes a try if you have a baby. If you have any questions on any other baby food, I would be happy to answer them in another session, maybe a live. Keep asking all the questions below in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. So until then, until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.